Sales is service. And the most powerful sales tool you have is not a script, it's not a funnel, it's your energy, it's your certainty, it's your embodied knowing that what you are offering is literally life changing. Welcome back to another episode of the Charyse Williams Show. Y'all, today we are diving deep into the science of selling with certainty. The science of selling with certainty. And trust me, this is going to shift the way you see sales forever. Okay. So if you've ever felt your chest tighten before making an offer, before quoting your fee, right? If you've ever felt that shakiness in your voice when you are mentioning your price, or when you are about to, even the thought of you're about to mention your price, right? Or if there is a little part of you that still feels like maybe you're bothering people, you're bothering someone when you share your work, or when you share how it is that you can support them on their health and wellness journey, then this episode is specifically for you. So let's shift out of fear and let's shift into embodied certainty. You ready? All right, so let's go. So first and foremost, it's important that you understand that sales anxiety is a nervous system response. I need you to write that down, and I need you to really get that. Sales anxiety, so anxiety around sales, and let's face it, when you're enrolling someone into your holistic health program or services, whatever it may be, it's sales, and it's cool, and it's great, and it's awesome, and it's an amazing service that you're able to do for someone. So I think it's important, number one, this is something you do for sales, is something you do for someone, not to someone. There's a big difference there, and we're going to unpack that a little bit more in a second. But sales anxiety is a nervous system response. Sales anxiety is a nervous system response. So many practitioners, nurse practitioners, even physicians think that they're bad at sales. I cannot tell you how many times people have said, I'm just bad at sales, or I hate sales, or something along those lines. But what if I told you that what if I told you that what you're experiencing isn't a sales problem? It's not a sales problem at all. It's a nervous system response. So that freeze, that hesitation, that urge to shrink, all those uncomfortable, feelings, first of all, it's not a weakness, right? It's your body trying to protect you from a perceived threat, right? So when we show up to a sales call, and again, whether we're showing up to a sales call on Zoom, over the phone, if they're in your office for a consult, whatever the case may be, wherever this is taking place, and your heart starts racing, right? Or you feel like you want to run, or you feel like you want to avoid the conversation altogether, or you feel like you're just not going to mention the price. All the uneasiness that you might feel around this, our brain is literally signaling, this isn't safe. This isn't safe. Not because your offer, your program, your service isn't good. No, not because you're not qualified. Absolutely not, because you are probably overqualified, right? But because somewhere deep inside, there is a story that says visibility equals danger. Rejection equals pain, right? Asking is unsafe. Maybe even asking is greedy, something to that effect. There is something going on inside. It's in your subconscious that there's a story attached to sales, right? And once you understand that, you stop blaming yourself. You stop saying how much you hate sales. You stop shrinking and shying away from it. And you start healing the real root of your sales resistance. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the confidence competence loop. It's a mouthful. Confidence competence loop is what I like to call it. So here's the thing. Confidence isn't something that you wait for before you start selling or enrolling into your programs, offers, or services. It's not something you wait for. Confidence doesn't just magically happen. Like, you can't think your way into being confident. If you've ever tried, you know that does not work. You cannot think your way into being confident. Confidence is something that you build by taking aligned action. It is something that it's like a muscle. It's like a muscle. You're not going to gain nice, beautiful, toned, as I like to call them, Angela Bassett arms by thinking about how toned your arms are. Like you could spend 24 hours every day in, day out, and be like, oh my God, okay. So, and you can visualize. So visualization is very important, but you can't just visualize how beautiful you are and sculpted and shaped and carved and chiseled or whatever your arms are. And then even if you did that every day for 30 days, 90 days, right? You can't, you wouldn't expect for you to look down miraculously and you're like, oh, I got these guns. Okay. Like you wouldn't expect that, right? Because you can't think your way into muscles, just like you can't think your way into confidence. Confidence is something that you build by taking aligned action. And over and over again, taking aligned action repetitively. Okay. It's what I call the confidence competence loop. So every time you make an offer, every time you invite someone to work with you in whatever capacity, and your nervous system is regulated even a little, you're rewiring your brain. Yay, you're rewiring your brain. You're teaching it, I can do this. I didn't die. I'm still safe. All is well. We're good, right? And that's how you build the inner safety to show up again and again and again, all right? It's the reps and the regulation, reps and regulation, reps and regulation. It's not about hustle. Certainly not about perfection, not that even perfection even exists in real life, right? But it is about showing up and showing up over and over and over again. And that's how you build that confidence, and that's how you make it safe in your body at the level of your nervous system. Okay. Now, how do we move from I'm bothering them to I'm helping them? Would you like to know that? So I'm glad you would. I'm glad you would because I'm going to share that with you. All right. So, first, let's reframe one of the most common subconscious beliefs that I see. And I see it time and time and time again, which is I hear it time and time and time again, which is I don't want to bother them. How many of you can relate to feeling or thinking, I don't want to bother them, whether that's reaching out to them online, it's making a phone call, whatever the case may be. I don't want to bother them, right? First of all, let me just tell you this, girlfriend. You are not bothering them. You are blessing them. And I promise you, the sooner you can make that shift in your brain, number one, it's literally gonna feel like you like release 15, 20, 30 pounds, right? Because you're not carrying around that heavy energy. And the reality of it is, it's the truth. It is the absolute truth. The work that you do with your patients or your clients is literally life changing, life altering, life giving. You are blessing them. And the sooner that you can really see it through that lens, the better off you're going to be, and the better off they're going to be, and the bigger impact you're going to be able to make. Because again, you're operating from a place of truth, right? And so you're not interrupting their day, you're interrupting their pattern. That's important, right? You're showing them a path out of pain. You're showing them a path out of confusion, right? You're showing them a path out of overwhelm. You're showing them a path out of dysfunction. Do you know how? I mean, we've all experienced it, we've all heard it. They've been on, YouTube University. They've been Googling all of their symptoms. And you may have done it yourself, right? And it's so much information. Like you could look up literally anything and find pros and cons to support either side, right? So I always like to use the example of an egg. Everyone, they always say, "Oh yeah, eggs are great for you. Eggs are wonderful. Da 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 da, omegas, whatever." And then in the same, the 1 week later, it's like, don't eat eggs. It elevates your cholesterol and da 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 da. And it's like, but wait, So with anything, there you can find points and even research to support both sides, right? So think about that from the mindset of your clients. They are confused. They are overwhelmed. Maybe I should do a keto. Maybe I should do a vegan. Maybe I should do all the things. And they have no freaking clue. They need you. They need your support. They need your guidance. They need you to sort through and shift it and carve away all the stuff that doesn't even really pertain to them. That's really going to give them a way forward, a true way forward in their healing journey. Okay. So you're showing them a path. Right? Like I said, they've been scrolling, they've been searching, they've been silently struggling and suffering. And here you are withholding a solution. Many of you guys know my story. I was reluctant for quite some time to launch my holistic health coaching business because I wasn't like a perfect size 4 or whatever. I don't even know what perfect size is. There's no such thing as perfect. But I was like, no, no, no. And some of you might be able to, relate to this. I was like, no, 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 no. I'm not ready yet. And then I had to come to Jesus moment with myself. I literally had to sit my little self down and say, okay, wait a minute, girl. Are you trying to tell me because you're not a size 4, right? But yet you have all this information, all this knowledge, the heart to serve. You have information that can literally help people reverse their diabetes. You literally have information that can help people reverse their primary hypertension. Are you kidding me? And yet you're worried, like literally, this is me talking to myself, and yet you're worried about being judged, or you're worried that you're not XYZ. How freaking self-absorbed and selfish can you be? That was my conversation with myself. Seriously. And I was like, oh, okay, well, she told you. Seriously. But I needed that. I needed that conversation. I needed that to shift me out of like this hesitating and hedging and not moving forward with what God had given me to share. Right. And so hopefully that landed with somebody, because that was not in my I was not planning on sharing that, but it came up. So hey, it was meant to be shared to bless somebody. So that being said, the most aligned sales conversation is simply like, if you just want to break it down, and there's a whole framework. I have a whole framework. It's called conscious sales. But when you really break it down to the simplest of components, it literally boils down to, here's what I see, based on the conversation that you had with them, or based on you looking at their blood work, or maybe you did a root cause blood work analysis, whatever the case may be, right? But it's, here's what I see. Here's how I can help. Do you want support? Or more specifically, do you want my support? That's really the nuts and bolts of it. Again, there's a whole framework to it, but really breaking it down, okay? Here's the thing. When you believe in your offer, when you believe in your service, when you believe in your program, whatever it is that you're offering, your client or the person on the other side of that phone, or on the other side of that Zoom screen, on the other side of that table, if they're in front of you, your client absolutely feels that certainty. Absolutely. Which leads us into the mirror neurons and client decisions. Mirror, M-I-R, like you're looking in a mirror. Mirror neurons. I feel like I'm saying that weird. Mirror, like a mirror. You're looking at yourself in a mirror. Mirror neurons plus your client decisions, right? This is where science really meets like soul. This is where science meets soul, okay? So your potential client's brain is wired to mirror yours. Did you know that? And yes, and thanks to mirror neurons, they unconsciously attune to your energy. That's why it's so important for you to have a regulated nervous system. That's why it's so important for you to have just nice, like clean energy when you're having a conversation, a sales conversation, enrollment conversation, a consult, whatever the case may be, however you want to title it, right? But this is why it's so important. So when you show up grounded, and again, I say show up, this could be over the phone. They may not see you at all, but let me tell you, they can feel your energy just like you can feel someone else's energy when you're having a conversation with them about anything, right? So when you show up grounded, when you show up certain, when you show up regulated, they feel that. They feel that. And not only do they feel that, but they trust that. And they borrow your belief while theirs is still forming. Y'all, this is so important. This is so key. This is why nervous system work isn't optional. Maybe you thought it was up until now. Maybe you didn't even think you didn't even know how it factored into the equation. Maybe you didn't even know it was part of the equation. But let me tell you, it's part of the equation. It's a huge part of the equation. It is not optional. It is absolutely necessary. It is a requirement. It's the missing link in mastering high ticket sales. Any sales. I said high ticket sales because that's like my area of expertise. But I don't care what you are enrolling. I don't care what your program or your offer or your service is priced at. It is the missing link in mastering sales. Let's just say that part. Sales, low ticket, high ticket, mid ticket, whatever. Okay. It's not just about what you say. It's what your energy transmits. It's what you're emitting. Huge, huge. Now you might be thinking, okay, well, this is new. I didn't know. Now what do I do? What do I do? How do I regulate my nervous system? Well, there's so many different ways. So many different ways. I will share with you one way that I love to regulate my nervous system. It's what I teach my clients inside of Transcendence. It's what I it's exactly what I teach all of my clients, whether they're one-on-one clients, clients in the Prosperous Practitioner Program, Transcendence, Conscious Sales. It doesn't matter. Whatever program they're in, because like I said, it's not optional. This is a critical piece. And so one of the ways that I teach nervous system regulation is simply with intentional breath. I know, so simple. You're like, no, it's got to be more than that. No, it actually doesn't need to be more than that. It's simple breathing, intentional breathing exercise, right? So before your next sales call, and I definitely encourage you to have some type of routine, ritual, tradition, whatever you want to call it, some process that you use prior to you having a sales call. Again, whether that's on the phone, whether that's via Zoom, whether they're in your office, in your in your physical space, in a consult or whatever the case may be. I strongly recommend you do this. 60 seconds. It's literally a 60-second reset. Okay. So you're going to sit somewhere comfortably. Here's the thing. If you can't sit, it's fine. You can stand. But if you can sit, great. Otherwise, stand. Place one hand on your heart. Place the other hand on your belly, on your abdomen. Okay. And you can do box breathing. And what box breathing is literally you're going to inhale through your nose into your belly, not from your chest. We're so used to breathing from our chest, right? But we should be breathing from our belly. So inhaling for 4 seconds in through your nose, breathing in from from your belly. Your belly should be expanding. Okay. I kind of butchered that, but your belly should be expanding when you're inhaling, which is, I remember when I first started box breathing, I'm like, of course, breathing. I know how to breathe, except for I noticed that my chest was rising, right? Which it should rise. I mean, it's part of breathing, but there was nothing going on in my belly. And so you want to breathe from your belly. Your belly should be going out, right? So box breathing in for 4. You're going to hold for 4. You're going to exhale for 4. Take the whole 4, right? If you need to, again, depending on where you are in your journey in terms of nervous system regulation, if you need to do a 4, 7, 8, do that. That would be breathing in for 4, hold for 7, and take that entire 8-second count to release all the air. I find if I'm like really wound up, not when it comes to sales, like that doesn't bother me, but if I'm just really wound up for whatever reason, 4, 7, 8, oh my God, it just does me so good. It like literally resets my life. Okay. So anyway, you can do 4, 4, 4 or 4, 7, 8, whichever. Okay. And then you're going to repeat this. So that's 4. If you do 4, 4, 4, that's 1 round. You're going to repeat that times 3. If you feel like you need to do more because you still kind of feel kind of frazzled or anxious or whatever, uneasy, okay, then do another round or so, right? All right. And then I also want you to say out loud, or if you're around people, you could say it to yourself. I'm safe. Like, remember, your hands on your heart, on your belly. You've done your 4, 4, 4 breathing, and you're going to just simply say, I am safe. I am grounded. My work changes lives. Okay, I am safe. I'm grounded. My work changes lives. You can add some more things that, if you want to, that resonate with you, but it can literally be that simple. This is literally communicating to your nervous system. We're not in danger. We're in service. We're not in danger. We're in service. Okay. And another thing you could do is you could always do some tapping. Again, this all takes like 60 seconds. So you can't tell me, I don't have time. Yes, you do. And if you want to do yourself a favor and the other person a favor, take those 60 seconds. Take those 60 seconds. Go into the bathroom, go into a closet. I don't care. Go someplace and take those 60 seconds for you to regulate you and to ground you. Okay. Another thing you can do is EFT. EFT is tapping. It stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. Really powerful way to regulate your nervous system. Again, you could literally just do it for 60 seconds. Another thing I love to do, I've done this for as long as I can remember, and I still do this to this day, is many of you guys know I'm a huge proponent of essential oils. So I love wild orange. Wild orange is the oil of abundance. I love wild orange, and I literally every morning I actually do some tapping with. I just started tapping without wild orange. I usually just diffuse it. Okay, but recently, probably over the last month or so, I started doing EFT, so tapping with wild orange. Doesn't matter how you do it. Apply it topically, inhale it, aromatically. So you topically, aromatically, you can even put it in, if you have the right brand. I use doTERRA, but if you have the right brand that's actually recommended for internal consumption, you can put it in under your tongue, sublingually, you put it in your water, or whatever the case may be. Get you some wild orange, is all I'm saying. Okay. So those are just three. I gave y'all three things: breathing, intentional breathing, box breathing, or the flagpole breathing, that 478, and or you could do EFT, which is tapping, and or either way, I'm still going to encourage you to get you some wild orange essential oil. Okay. So as we bring this to a close for today, remember, sales is service. Sales is service. And I really want you to think about this for a second. I want you to think about who actually gains the most, who actually benefits the most in this scenario. Is it you, who maybe your program is $3,000, $6,000, $10,000, $15,000, whatever the case may be. Okay, you can pay a couple bills with that. All right, cool, whatever. Or your client, which they get customized support. They get, depending on how you work with your clients, maybe they get customized protocol, right? They get an understanding of what's going on in their body, right? They get support around that. They get, so they lose the weight, or they balance their hormones, or they whatever it is that you help them with, right? And then what effect does that have? Their confidence increases, their libido increases, their hot flashes go away, they're all the things that you help them with. And then not just them, right? But because they're changing their way of being, because they're changing, what they're doing, how they're eating, how they're moving their body, how they're thinking, all the things, because they are changing, that has a ripple effect on the other people that are in their house, maybe their spouse, their children. And so now you're not only affecting them, but now you're affecting their family, which their households, which then trickles to their community. So I really want you to really, really think about this. Who actually benefits the most? Is it you that made $10,000 or whatever? Or is it them that have completely shifted their life, completely shifted their way of being, completely shifted the trajectory of their health? Okay. All right. Now that we got that cleared up. So remember, sales is service. Sales is service. And the most powerful sales tool you have is not a script. It's not a funnel. It's your energy. It's your certainty. It's your embodied knowing that what you are offering is literally life changing. Okay. So if today's episode resonated with you, if it resonated, you're like, oh my God, number one, listen to it again. Number two, I'm going to ask that you share it. Share it with a fellow nurse practitioner, physician, whomever that needs this. They need this in order to make the level of impact that they are here to make. And this is the sticky point for them. This is the point that they're like, I just can't break through this piece. Yes, you can. Send them this episode. Okay. And if you're ready to master conscious sales and close high ticket clients into your premium, services or offers or programs with ease, I want you to send me a DM. Find me on Facebook, it's Charyse W, or on Instagram, Charyse Williams, right? Most of us are already connected. If you're not, send me a friend request or follow or whatever, right? So we can be more connected. But DM me the word sales, 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 okay? And let's create a plan together. Because you got this, number one. You got this. You got this. Two, your work is sacred. I need you to know that. I need you to embrace that. Your work is sacred. Okay? You're not bothering anyone. And you're literally saving lives. And I know you know that intellectually, but I need you to get that. Like, you're literally saving lives. You're literally changing the trajectory of someone's life. So that being said, you guys, I love you. I appreciate you. And I will see you next time for another episode of the Charyse Williams Show. Bye for now.